Hello and welcome to Capital Ideas TV. I'm Mark Bunting. Recreational cannabis will soon be legal right across Canada, and that's become the singular focus of users and investors. There's a lot being said about the sales potential of THC, that's the compound in cannabis with psychoactive properties, but a lucrative part of the plant that doesn't get you high is being overlooked. That's CBD, or cannabinoid. It's being used for a whole host of useful purposes that grow by the day, and its sales have taken off in just a few short years. Here's a breakdown of hemp-based product sales in the US last year, courtesy of the Hemp Business Journal. Hemp was an $820 million business, and CBD was the largest segment at $190 million. That product category didn't even exist 5 years ago, yet it's already dashed out in front, and that's likely just the beginning. Sales of hemp-derived CBD products are expected to explode to more than $1.2 billion by 2022. That will narrowly eclipse all other major segments of the market combined. And that's just CBD pulled from hemp plants. There are other ways to extract the chemical compound. Some estimates put the total CBD market as high as $3 billion by 2021. Isodiol International isn't sleeping on the opportunity CBD presents. The company has developed a proprietary CBD formulation with 99% purity usable in everything from food to topical creams to cosmetics. And Isodiol has not been shy about taking the nascent market by storm. The company has made a slew of acquisitions over the past 18 months. That's allowed it to greatly expand its product portfolio and its pharmaceutical manufacturing capabilities. Isodiol also struck a number of distribution deals with major cannabis brands such as Canopy Growth and Namaste Technologies. It's also added marketing partnerships with well-known brands in the nutraceutical and food and beverage industries. It's now pushing its products all over the world, both in-house and through those partnerships. Isodiol has experienced rapid revenue growth thanks to that flurry of activity. Management says it's just the tip of the iceberg, with the real impact of its acquisitions to come. The head of Canada for Isodiol is Soheil Samimi. He explains here what investors can expect later this year and why they should be excited long term. So Soheil, Isodiol is unique in that you focus on hemp and cannabinoid CBD. So explain the strategy and how you are different from other companies.
That's right. So our focus is only on the THC-free CBD or other phytocannabinoid-based products. So in general, we're talking about non-psychoactive, primarily hemp-derived CBD. So that's very different than being involved in cultivation or on the THC and the marijuana side. And we certainly believe that this is one of the biggest niche in the space, and it reaches a broad set of consumers who are looking for just the medicinal property of the plant.
And you think that your company has a big distinction from other companies in that you have this active pharmaceutical ingredient, this isolate?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is certainly one of our most important assets right now in terms of certification as well. So we obtained the API status out of our facility, BSPG facility in London, north of London, where we produce the isolate, and having an active pharmaceutical ingredient status allows us to supply that kind of isolate for clinical trials, drug development, and also certain exemptions that don't apply to other sources of phytocannabinoids.
Now, you already have more than 30 products on the market. It's quite diverse, anti-aging cream, all sorts of other different types of products. So give us a sense of what you're offering.
Great. So at the base, we offer bulk phytocannabinoids in isolate, oils, and so on. We offer private label manufacturing, and of course, as you mentioned, we have a pretty broad SKU set of finished goods that encompasses many categories, from the tinctures and the sprays, pain creams, patches, a whole variety of beverages. That's certainly a fast-growing category, all the way to cosmetics, vaping, and many other categories within which you can now infuse phytocannabinoids. So we certainly have now already much more than 30 products.
Okay, so Isodiol is active in the UK, US, China, and you're pushing into Canada. So give us your distribution plan in Canada. How do you see broadening out and having all your products available and massively across the country in retail stores?
Yeah, well, this will follow the regulations that are continuing to be evolving and changing, especially for this category. So initially at the base right now, we are in the final stages of having our LD facility. It's in Abbotsford, close to Vancouver, where we'll be able to begin now focusing on distribution, manufacturing and distribution in Canada.
So you'll be a licensed dealer.
Exactly,
Right.
a licensed dealer. So at the initial onset of the regulations coming in October, there are going to be some legal distribution channels in which we can have phytocannabinoid products. But then what is exciting as we go forward is if the regulations continue to enable a distinction for what is THC-free hemp-derived CBD products, and if the regulation goes further towards something that would be covered under the Natural Health Product Act, for example, then that widens the distribution opportunity for these products. So for example, having products infused with phytocannabinoids that could be in the grocery store, over the counter, so not only in the more restrictive prescription base. So again, we already have a number of exciting channels that are opening up in Canada, and we certainly hope that as new regulations come for edibles and other categories, it's going to continue to widen the distribution opportunity.
And as far as production, you guys and gals at Isodiol are thinking big.
Yes.
You want to 10x your current production. You want to increase it 10 times. And in order to do that, you're building this, what you say is a pretty, big, huge facility in China. Tell us about that.
Yes, so there's certainly the facility in China would be a large volume facility. In essence, we're going to face a situation where the industry demand for the amount of raw starting material with CBD that you need is certainly going to start putting strains on the current supply that's available. So the investment into infrastructure and being able to produce more of the raw ingredients that are needed to make these finished products is certainly a critical component of our strategy. The China facility would allow us, I believe, to look at volumes equivalent to around 1,500 to up to 2,000 kilogram per month of isolate, and it's not the only place that we're investing in order to increase production. We have additional opportunities to replicate in whether it's in Canada, in the US, and elsewhere in the world as well. We have Europe that's picking up very fast in this category. South America is another exciting part of the world where the laws are changing as well and enabling these kind of products to go out in the marketplace. So we need to have a lot more production in order to satisfy the demand that's coming our way.
Let's talk numbers. Soheil, your company has finished year end.
Yes.
So what's the revenue run rate look like? And you're profitable, correct?
Yes. So we for the last year we finished somewhere around the 20 million in sales, which is pretty good for starting a company in this space. And right now we're on pace in the recent months somewhere between 3 to 4 million a month rate. And again, as these we really the opportunity for us is as soon as the legislation permits and the marketplace opens up in new countries, including Canada, we have the ability to have a quick ramp up in terms of non-existing sales because these products are going to be on the shelf to suddenly having these products in many retail locations, wherever the licenses enable them to go. So we're expecting continued drive in terms of the growth, in terms of revenues, month to month as we go forward for the foreseeable future.
Isodiol has about 25 million in cash. You've been quite acquisitive.
Yes.
So give us a sense of what it looks like going out a few years. How much more acquisitive will you be, and how much organic growth you're going to have?
Yeah. So obviously we're in a very dynamic space right now. We have our acquisitions were really focused either on infrastructure play, having more raw source and the ability to produce more, and at the other end of it, in terms of adding other product categories, other brands, and so on. As we go forward, we are certainly interested to continue at exploring, adding interesting assets. But I think a lot of the growth will come organically because we have already the infrastructure in place. We have a great lineup of products, and all we need to do is to go out there and execute the strategy. I'm very excited about the number of conversations we're having in many different countries with a lot of established players that are not yet in the cannabis or in the phytocannabinoid industry, but are looking to bring on products into the marketplace. And I think we are one of the best placed focused companies in this category. So we're going to have a number of exciting partnerships and markets that are opening up in the next 12 months going forward.
So you kind of touched on it there, but last question for you. It's an exciting space. It's becoming a crowded space, as you know. A lot of companies competing for investors' attention. So people watching right now, they're considering your company. Make the investment case that if they put some money in long term, that they're going to do well.
Well, at the essence, I think that very quickly, if you compare to a year ago or 2 years ago, the broader investment community is starting to understand what CBD is, what the hemp category is, and the potentially much larger opportunity when we look at all of the consumers out there than just the cannabis and the THC component. So again, as a pure play into that sector and a company that has the infrastructure, some unique attributes like the API isolate and so on, I think you're hard pressed to find many other companies out there with those kind of distinctions and a focus on the CBD category, which continues to evolve and show what a large opportunity is going to be globally for probably the next 5 to 10 years as it goes from this basis.